Hello. Today was round 5 in the FIDE Grand Prix tournament, and I see it was triumph for black pieces today. So black won 3 games today, and white won only 1 game. Okay, so we will consider them. First of all, Nakamura Grishchuk. So Grishchuk chose Kings India, not so common choice now. So probably Grishchuk wanted to play for a win or at least to have complicated game. And Nakamura used quite rare but popular system now. Bishop e2 and bishop e3. More popular moves here knight f3 or bishop g5, Averbach system. So Averbach. Yesterday was birthday of Yuri Lvovich Averbach, so he has 100 years. And my congratulations to him. Wish a good health and all of the best to this player. So bishop g5, it calls like Averbach system. Bishop e3, it's a little bit similar to Averbach system, because in Averbach system, after h6, white usually respond bishop e3. But the idea of Averbach was utilize h6 pawn for the attack after queen d2. So, but bishop e3, it's the same ideas but without h6. Okay, also possible h4. It's also possible move. It's very popular during last time, especially in move order. White starts h4. To avoid Grünfeld after knight c3 d5, so h4, and if bishop g7, knight c3. So now d5, it's possible, but white has h5. It's not so pleasant for black. So after castle, e4, d6, bishop e2, and this is also quite popular line at the moment. Also in candidated tournaments, it were some games, for example, Dink against Vashier and other games. But okay, so bishop e3. And black has principal choice here what to play. So same like after bishop g5. So main plans are connected with e5 or with c5. So both are totally possible in this position. Of course, idea of black after d takes c5 to play queen a5. And knight f3, it's possible, but knight g4. Also, okay, so if knight f3, knight g4, it's necessary to consider if bishop g5, for example, takes, queen b6 is possible, something like this. Okay, d5 is possible, but after d5, e6, it's some kind of Benoni. Also possible to play knight a6, not hurry with e5 or c5, and to make this choice in next move. Same exists after bishop g5, knight a6. It's one of the most important system. But here there is also idea to defend pawn c7, for example. e5 immediately not possible, because after take, black is losing material, so easy to see if knight on a6, black has no danger. So after knight a6, for example, after queen d2, black can play e5. And now d takes e5 and queen takes d8, it's not danger anymore. Okay, so if d5, black has choice, c6 is main move. Also queen e8 is possible to prepare some move with knight. Okay, so bishop e3, e5 was choice of Grishchuk, and Nakamura played d5. Another possible line is Grigorich system, of course, knight f3, and now a lot of theory. Black has many moves, for example, knight g4, bishop g5, f6, bishop h4, knight c6, d5, knight e7, knight d2, h5, h3, knight h6, g4, takes, knight f7. This is a favorite line of big expert of King's Indian defense, Grandmaster Alexei Fedorov from Belarus. And of course, there are other systems connected with c6, it's possible. Knight a6 is possible. And also here, instead of h5, knight h6 is possible immediately after f3, c5, for example. Well, but we have something different. So d5, same position there is in Averbach system. I mean, after bishop g5, h6, bishop e3, e5, d5. But d5. But here probably even better for white, because in next move. Yes, thank you. Everything is okay with me, and I hope for my listeners everything is okay too. So d5, but now okay, even a little bit more pleasant for white, because they can utilize h6 pawn like target for attack, for winning tempo after queen d2. Well, so bishop e3, e5, d5, knight a6, h4, knight c5. That's not necessary, but possible. Queen c2, c6. And now it's not so difficult to see that white cannot attack immediately with b4, because after knight takes e4, knight takes e4, knight takes e4, queen takes e4, bishop f5, queen f3, its only move. White queen has no other squares, so the queen e3, e4 is coming, and then bishop takes a1, and black is winning. So of course, it's very primitive trick. It's very primitive trick. So of course, in grandmaster in good level will not allow this. Takes, queen a5, h6. Bishop h8, f3. So king's flank closed, and white wants to start some play in queen's flank. Why don't open? Okay, probably this is his plan. He wants to plan in queen's flank, so he wants to have a black bishop on h8, because black bishop on h8, it's a little bit far from queen's flank. So if bishop on g7, somewhere it's possible to play bishop f8 and defend pawn d6. Also probably after but also, and if f3, knight h5 is possible to consider. Okay, so main reason knight takes e4. So it's totally possible. And of course, white cannot defend f3 because knight takes h5. So maybe h6, it's not only idea to play against black bishop, but also idea to go away with pawn, so from h5. So on h5, black knight can take the pawn. So on h6, pawn is defended. So f3, bishop d7, another possible try for black can be knight h5, of course, with idea knight f4, knight g3, or f5. Okay, probably white can play rook b1 anyway, and b4 now is threat, and for example, queen d8 is possible. b4, knight d7, and very complicated game. Both has his trumps. White has some prospects in queen's flank. Black has ideas knight f4, knight g3. So knight b5 probably. Okay, this complicated position, it's necessary to analyze. Knight b5, knight b6, for example, possible. Queen c7, something like this. Okay, but in the game bishop d7, quite natural move. Black is preparing rook fc8, not rook b1. So also very obvious threat b4. And Grishchuk played knight a4, not only move, of course, there are other possibilities. For example, even queen b4 is possible to consider if a3, queen b3. Also possible to play queen c7. If knight b5, bishop takes b5, bishop... Oh, okay, knight b5, I don't know, is it correct or not for white. Queen a5, b4 is my idea. Queen takes b5, b takes c5, so... Okay, but maybe black can just play knight rook fc8 with idea queen a5 check now, and b4 is possible also. Don't know. Okay, maybe it's interesting idea for white. Okay, so this is necessary to analyze this sharp game high. So queen c7 was possible alternative, but Grishchuk played knight a4. And okay, another logical move. So black definitely interesting provided. Now we can see the black problems that they cannot defend pawn. Position is more 8, is not 8. And shows this, yeah, I don't know why Grishchuk didn't play this. So probably he decides that queen on c7 is more useful for black than on a5, but it's not clear. Maybe he afraid this idea, and then in b2, rook a3, something like this. Streaming don't run good. Okay, I need to check if it... yes, this. Bishop is okay, queen b2, to 4, can try probably, but don't know. Seem also strokes. So what about my stream? Is that everything good or not? Or I should restart or what? Can you tell me? Can somebody confirm that everything good or not so good? So now we understand what was point better now. Okay, good. So now we understand why Grishchuk afraid to play b6. Also b5 may be possible, but okay. So After b5, it's never possible to play back with pawn to b7. Also, rook fc8, it's possible to consider. If rook b7, take on c3. If c4, black can exchange queens. So this is also possible. And quite logical move. So black has choice. So Grishchuk choose queen c7. I'm not sure that this is the best choice. But now Nakamura played g4, probably idea to prevent knight h5. Although at the moment knight h5 it's not a threat. For example, if to play, it's totally stupid move, of course. But I just want to illustrate ideas that knight h5 it's not the move because white has this, and white wins. Okay, so more logical to play c4. Useful move instead of rook h2. So c4 it's logical move, and knight h5 it's a big blunder because this and bishop b6. Because queen g5 idea, white is winning. But okay, so after c4, black should play something else. I don't know what exactly. Maybe b6, maybe bishop e8, maybe bishop c8. So with idea to transfer knight to d7. But okay, Nakamura played g4. So bishop c8, not so obvious moves. Looks like logical rook fc8, and after c4, for example, bishop e8 and then knight d7. So I don't know why Grishchuk decide f5 in this position. If after g4 open g line, it's dangerous. So it's logical idea to transfer knight via d7 to c5 or in b6 in some variation. But I don't know why Grishchuk utilized c8 square for his bishop, not e8. So rook fc8 and bishop e8 seems more natural for me. Knight f2, bishop f6. Okay, knight c5 is possible, but anyway, looks like plan of black to put knight on c5, bishop on d7, rook fc8. But with connection of this, I don't understand reason of bishop c8. Why not rook fc8 and bishop e8? Because it looks like black just giving some tempo, so white not hurry with c3. So here, yes, I think white is better because white is strong in both flanks. So in queen's flank, white is definitely strongly because d5 pawn is stronger than d6 pawn, and king's flank, it's at the moment is closed, but somewhere white can prepare f4, and not very likely that f5 for black from black side can be good, because g line will be opening, and this is extremely dangerous for black king. So yes. In endgame, no. In endgame, h6 is double-edged because somewhere black can probably attack this pawn, but because king can go to e8, so h6 has more advantage with queens, in my opinion. But okay, in some endgame, h6 can be useful too, but I just want to explain that there is no something like rule that h6 always good, not always, but sometimes can be. So b6, knight takes c5, f4. So now, okay, looks like white is better. So, and now black has problem with d6 pawn, and also white has planned c4, queen c3 to create direct threats against king, and somewhere white can prepare e4, e5. So yes, here white is better. Yes, queen c3, f6 only move, but now bishop e7 is totally passive. So rook b3, white is fighting for b line, so they are ready to exchange rooks, but on his own condition. Black should not allow the pawn on h6. Okay, maybe, but how black could not allow this pawn? So in this, so instead of queen a5, but what was concrete recommendation of Kamsky? Okay, sometimes there is idea h6, if takes, for example, takes, king g7 and rook h8 with some compensation, but h4, h5 Kamsky mentioned. On knight c5, queen c2, now h5 maybe is possible as well. With same trick, so before it's doesn't work, because, as I explained it. Yes, h5 is possible, but after h5, white can try utilize g5 square for his knight. For example, knight h3 is possible, and then knight g5. Knight g4, okay, bishop g5, or even bishop d2, because black cannot take on h4. Bishop g5 is coming, and or bishop g5 immediately. So okay, so h5 is possible, but g5 square, white can try utilize it. Okay, maybe Kamsky is right, but it's not so obvious for me. So bishop c8, I strongly don't like this move. So probably after rook fc8, black has contraplay. Or rook fc8 instead of b6. So it's not so clear for me, but okay, who knows. Okay, rook takes b7 necessary to check, because if queen takes pawn not on g4 yet. Okay, so g5 is not threat, so black probably can take even with rook, probably with idea rook c1 check in some moments. Okay, position is far from clear, of course. King f2 is possible, something like this, but I don't know. So at least I cannot tell, or even this end game, I'm not sure that white is better, because if take, and then rook a3, so I'm not sure. Maybe white is better, but it's at the moment it's not obvious for me. But how Grishchuk played, yes, it's bad position. And now queen c3, so not so difficult. So if rook f7, h7, just winning. Okay, so good victory for Nakamura, but well, so Grishchuk played in this game not very well. Okay, let's try to consider something else. Rapport against Oparin. So this, and Dubov played a3. Rapport plays c takes d5, e takes d5. Another line is knight takes d5, of course. And after knight takes d5, white has principal choice where to develop his bishops. Bishop d3, bishop c4, and also bishop b5. So three alternatives are possible. Bishop c4, for example, this, rook e1, bishop f6, one theoretical lines. If knight e4, b6 was idea of Lambit-All. Okay, so e takes d5, bishop b5, also bishop e2 is theoretical, also bishop b5, c takes d4, another theoretical line is bishop d6 now, castle, d takes c5, bishop takes c5, also there are many games. So c takes d4, knight takes d4, e takes d4 is possible as well, of course, with idea castle, knight e5, something like this. Knight takes d4, bishop d7, Queen c7 also possible. Okay, so a lot of games, a lot of theory. Castle, knight f3, bishop e6. Black should defend the pawn, because if castle, knight takes d5, and because of bishop on d7, black has no idea, knight takes d5 and bishop h2 check. So bishop e6, b3, castle, bishop b2, queen e7. More or less normal position of with isolated pawn. Rook c1, c8, bishop d3, a6, h3. So if knight e2, bishop g4 is possible. So h3, idea to prepare knight e2 and avoid bishop g4. So more or less same ideas white usually utilize in this line from Nimzo, India. I mean, d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, e3, castle, bishop d3, c5, knight f3, d5. C takes d5, e takes d5, d takes c5. Now, if, for example, knight c6, castle, bishop takes c5, h3. So white plans is b3, bishop b2, and knight e2. Of course, here black has knight bd7 line. Now, bishop d2, knight takes c5, bishop e2, knight e6 also. There is a lot of theory. Knight e6, idea to have space for bishop after a3. Black has bishop d6 or bishop e7. So, hello. So more or less same ideas white utilize. After this, castle, knight c6, h3, and then b3. Okay, so let's come back to rapport. So rapport against Oparin, right? So b3, castle, bishop b2, queen e7, rook, bishop d3, then knight e4, knight f4. So, okay, knight f4 was not necessary. White can play knight e d4, for example. So there is choice, but knight f4 it's possible as well. So now white has two bishops, but f6, queen e2. So f6 it's important to put block against bishop b2. Okay, he's playing against isolated pawns, so now he has two bishops and d4 square is under white control, but sometimes white can even win the pawn after bishop takes e4, d takes e4, queen takes e4. But the problem is that such kind of extra pawn it's very difficult to realize because of opposite bishops. And pawn f6 is very good against both against bishop on b2 and also against knight on f3. So queen e2, queen c7, queen e3. So you take twice bishop d5, so black has excellent chances to draw. So white pretend to have more. Rook f8. Black wants to utilize position of queens. Bishop f7 or bishop f5, and then probably knight will jump somewhere to g3 or g5 or c3, depends. Bishop f1, bishop f5, rook f8. So rapport has strong nerves, so now black has choice, but queen f7 just played Oparin. So I don't know. about knight moves, but okay, probably we can consider some. So knight g5 looks like bad because queen takes, rook takes, rook takes, king f7, and simply f take g5 is possible now. If takes the rook, bishop f5, white has big material advantage. After bishop takes b1, white can play something like rook a3, and position is much better for white. Bishop is attacked. Next move, g takes f6. About Vidit, you are asking. Okay, it's quite a good player, but top 10. Okay, what is his rating now? I mean, which number he is? Is his rating involved? I don't know. Probably he is very close to top 10 or not, or top 20 now. 27. So it's maybe number 25 or something like this. Okay, so I think he can improve it. At least try, because he is playing in good tournaments quite regularly, and he is working a lot. I think he has a good chances to be top 10. Okay, so knight g5 is bad. So if knight d6, black has problem after queen d2, or queen c5 maybe also possible. White is attacking d5, so queen f7, it's okay. I don't know if this is the best move, but understandable move, because black defended pawn d5, and now they are ready to jump with his knight. So, for example, queen b6 looks like natural move to avoid attack of queen, but after queen b6, probably knight d6 was the idea of black, and try to exchange bishops and to have extra pawn, because d5 it's passive mode, white has double pawns. Queen d7, yes, queen d7, it's also logical alternative, but probably after queen d7 can be different, that somewhere after some move of knight, white has bishop takes f5 with tempi. I don't know, however, in which line they can use this idea, but just a hint. Maybe queen d7 is more precise even. So. Yes, I like queen d7. But maybe also problems that if knight d4. But okay, knight d4, knight d6 is possible immediately. I wanted to explain that after knight takes d4, queen takes d4. With queen on f7, black can play knight d6. With queen on d7, knight d6 not possible because pawn is hanging. But knight d6 is possible to play immediately, and looks like totally okay for black. If queen f3, even bishop e4 is possible, and good. Knight h4 is the same, knight d6. But now probably queen d2. Yes, now probably it's not so simple, because after bishop takes b1, queen takes d5, check. It's possible. After bishop e4, f3, the same idea. So probably this is not so simple. Okay, so knight h4 is possible, but okay, after knight h4, probably bishop e6 it's option, because white hardly can take on e4 twice. Bishop takes b3 coming. So after f3, knight d6, queen d3. Okay, maybe this is possible. I don't know. What's this? f5 is only move. After f5, g4. So something like this is possible for white. Okay, so queen f7, it's solid move. By the way, rook e d1, he played knight g3. If knight d6 now, probably Rapport wants queen c5. Don't afraid anything, and after this. And next move, white is ready to take the pawn, d5. So knight g3, queen d2. Okay, so to play in such style, it require to have strong nerves from white, because many checks, many tricks. But for example, if knight e2, king h2, and after bishop b1, rook takes b1, probably black has some problem with his knight. If knight takes c1, bishop takes f5. So what is this? Also, I don't know. Knight takes a2, but probably just take, and bishop a3. So, and knight in the trap. So of course this variation are not so difficult, but at least was necessary to calculate them. So rook e2 played Oparin. Another active and natural try. Queen takes d5, queen takes. So white has extra pawn at the moment, but black can take on a2. But after rook takes a2, knight d4 is possible, and it will be rook endgame drawish. So I think in this moment Grigory decides that he can be better, because his knight is better than white knight. So rook d8, good move, and maybe also rook e8 was possible with idea rook e2. Another logical idea, attack f2 pawn. But the question is how strong is black attack. For example, if rook e2, rook d7. So rook f2, rook takes b7. Now black has no check from h2, and his knight is attacked. So now rook c2 is possible, but okay, white has strong contraplay in queen's flank, so black is not playing for him. So rook d8 looks like cute choice for Grigory. Rook f5, yes, and rook c2. So and now it's certainly we can say that black is better. So only question how much is better. Rook e2, I don't know. It's not the move which seems me necessary. King f7, for example, looks like very logical move to improve kings. Rook d5 probably, this idea to transfer rook to b5 and attack pawn b3. Of course, it's not easy to win for black, but rook e2, I'm not totally understand what is idea. So because I don't see reason why rook on e2 is better than on a2. It's maybe only Grigory can explain what was his idea. F5, h5, another strange move, because after h5 in some variation white can have ideas with knight h4, knight g6, so more natural to play something like king f7, but probably Grigory wanted to prevent g4 and try to cut pawn f5 from other pawns and then attack them. Okay, we'll see. Rook e1. Rook f4. Yes, he is trying to attack f5 pawn. Very creative idea, but also possible was just take on e1 and play king f7 and try to utilize better structure in queen's flank. Although probably knight e1, knight d3, knight c5 in some variations. Idea of white's contraplay. But if knight takes e1, rook d5 immediately. I'm not sure that knight d3 is so strong, because rook takes f5, knight c5, knight d8. White is pawn down. Of course, this line is not forced, but okay, if king takes e1, it's possible. But anyway, rook d5, for example, g4, king f7, and black has certainly better chances. So rook f4, Grigori prefers to play with all of rooks on the board, rook c5, rook d6, also rook d3 looks like very interesting attack b3 pawn. So, but moves 34, it could be time trouble as well. Knight d2. So I'm not sure that black should do this to allow knight d2 with Stampy, and now king e2 is prepared. So probably Grigori was in time trouble and played not so precise. Rook d4, d2, rook c7. Anyway, black is better, because, but white has contraplay. So they want to take on b7, somewhere want to take on f6 as well. So f6, b7. Rook endgame with pawn up. This is very often draw. Okay, now it's theoretical draw even after rook takes a6. I mean, even if black will take two pawns, so it is theoretical draw. Only what I know about this endgame, of course, maybe not necessary to give this pawn for white, but only I know that losing position. So if, for example, to play king g1, so after rook e2, this is theoretical losing position. So white need not allow this. But if not play king g1, if, for example, to play this is theoretical draw. But I am not guaranteed that I would make draw with white in this position. Okay, so Rapport play rook b7, king b8. So rook. So now the problem for black that okay, even with king on g6, this is theoretical draw, but now black cannot reach this, because his king is cut, white cut black king, so black has no chances at all. So okay, Grigori played very well. He outplayed his opponent. He had a big advantage, but probably in time trouble he missed his chances, and game ended to draw. Okay, Dubov Vidit, a3. So a3, it's quite old move, and Robert Fischer played here knight e4 against Tigran Petrosyan. Don't remember what Petrosyan played. I seems me something with bishop d3, take on c3, something like bishop e7 immediately, or even take on c4 before, and now bishop e7. I don't remember, but surely knight e4 played Robert Fischer. D takes c4 I played against Gata Kamsky, but here Gata played bishop d3, which seems like more logical idea, knight e4, to prepare knight e4. Okay, after knight e4, c takes d5, it's interesting idea to provoke knight c3, because after this, white can consider this. I don't know if it's really strong, but like idea, if knight moves somewhere, queen e4 check, so e takes f3, d takes c6. This bishop g4, so black is good here. So f takes g2 is threat. So if white defend, b takes c6. No, it wasn't Queen's Gambit accepted. It was move order. As if I remember correctly, it was something like this. I wanted to play hedgehog after g3, b6. And he played now e3 and knight c6. d4, d5, a3, something like this. Yeah, I took, he took, after a6, he played castle, or even probably immediately bishop d3, I don't remember, but surely he played bishop d3, not bishop e2, but I don't remember if immediately or after castle b5. Yes, hedgehog is playable, but this is another story. Okay, so need a3, d takes c4. So cd, ed, okay, bishop d3 is possible, by the way, but this, and bishop e7. Castle. This is another playable position for both. Okay, so d takes c4, a6, bishop a2, bishop b7, queen e2, c takes d4, b4. So something really sharp. So double white, who is vidit again. So double vidit. So he played so many games against each other during last time. And e takes d4, very creative idea. Of course, white can take on b4 and play solid position. So e takes d4, d5. Okay, so bishop takes d5 is possible as well. Probably black planned to play queen c7. No, what is this? Of course, white has initiative, but the question is how strong. So bishop takes d5. If queen c7, knight g5 is possible to prepare some knight. But maybe now knight d4. Knight d4, it's important. Yes, so this is explanation of rook takes d5. So if not knight d4, bishop takes d5 would be strong, but after knight d4, black is okay. Okay, had to play for a win, but actually he just played bad. So especially bishop c8, it's something hardly, I can hardly explain such a choice like bishop c8. Okay, so knight d4 is possible. So to avoid this rook, Dubov took with rook, queen c7, rook d3. Of course, take on b2 is very risky because after bishop takes b2, difficult to develop bishop, and white is ready for rook c1. Vidit gave back. And position slightly better for white. Bishop b1. There is choice. Also possible to consider bishop c4, a5, bishop b5, for example. Okay, I'm not sure that a5 is oddly move, but bishop c4, it's looks like logical move to create some pressure in queen's flank. Also b4, it's possible to start it. But bishop c4 looks like more concrete move for me. Only necessary to follow bishop f6, rook b3, knight a5. If rook c2, maybe knight e7 is possible. This is if bishop takes a6, some ideas. rook takes c2, bishop, for example, rook takes c2, rook takes c2, bishop takes, queen takes, bishop takes b2. Anyway, white has a pawn and probably some chances, but knight d5 is coming, so it's not so easy. So this is what is black aiming for. So improve his knight and transfer. Before knight e5 was proposition. Knight e5. Yes, it's also possible. Knight e5, but the question how strong. If knight d4, just take on c3 and play rook c8. Yes, probably you are right. This. Okay, I wish you good luck. Başarılar, seni çok başarılar dilerim. Yarın turnuvada seni çok başarılar dilerim. And now white has no window for his king, so they cannot utilize idea like this. And knight takes e6 because after knight f4, queen c1, queen f1, queen takes f4 is loose. Yes, knight e5 it's also idea which white needs to follow. But after bishop c4, knight e5 doesn't work because takes and takes. Yes, I played in Skanderborg in Denmark twice, even twice. I have been in Denmark, but not so much. But bishop f6, it's a real try of contraplay. Now I don't see special advantage for white because knight is ready to come to d5. Also, it's possible before, if knight d5, bishop c5, so something like this. Okay, so bishop b1, but anyway, so bishop b1 I don't like. So bishop c4 looks like more concrete for me because looks like black is doing what they need, and bishop b1 it's not a big improvement for white. Before g6, queen a8. So white has some pressure in queen's flank, but black has good squares for knight. So knight is ready to come to d5 or to f5. h3, knight d5, c5, g5. Contraplate started against bishop. So like in mirror, white has bishop on a6 and h6. It's very interesting, but okay. So bishop d3, somewhere after queen c4, white need to be careful. So queen takes c4, bishop takes c4, knight e7, also e4. So I don't see how black can win this bishop, and probably queen c4 was totally good move. Why not? Okay, but he played bishop d3, knight f4. So here he exchanged. And now black has plan f5. Anyway, something strange for me. King f1. The problem, there is tactical problem. So probably he overlooked. So h4 looks natural, but now knight e2 and knight c3. Black has idea and then take on h4. Have extra pawn. Of course, white is without, only white can play for the win. White is without any risk, for example, after this, but probably chances to win are not so big. So king f1, f5, and now white has obvious problem with bishop on h6. Move 31, bishop e7 or bishop e7 or queen c1 check. Yes, it's possible. It's possible, but white has contraplay with h4 if bishop e7. Queen c1, yes, queen c1 the most natural, but after king h2, if take on a3, queen e4 is idea. If bishop g7, queen a4 as well, it's possible. So, not so easy to understand what to do. Knight f, bishop g7, queen e4. So this tricky position. Now white has obvious problem with his bishop on h6. If he matches that bishop on d2, so white has much better chances. And a4, a5 is coming, but now not so easy because of his too active bishop. h4 draw. What is this? Why h4? Why draw? So many questions immediately. Okay, so if just take, probably knight e6 is possible with idea knight d8, knight f7. Also white has f8 square for bishop, so okay, so after knight e6, bishop f5 is possible. So, like it is quite usual in game of double, it's very difficult to understand anything. So, why h4? Why? Okay, white draw, it's possible to understand, so, because g takes h4 more or less forced, and so even this, so this is drawish, I understand, but why not natural h take g4? g4, it's less understandable for me. Смешно. Okay. Maybe смешно. Okay, but what should black do now? Not so obvious for me. Okay, bishop b4 is possible, but okay, for example, if I'm just taking the pawn, what is my problem? Knight, yes, but how to utilize it? Knight e6 probably. For example, bishop e4. If knight d8, bishop d5. So I don't see how black can utilize. Knight d8. And bishop d5, king g6. So this is problem. Yes, but even here I have a5 and after knight f7, a6 just in time. After bishop takes a5, bishop f8. Okay, this is draw. Okay, so it's interesting game, very original, and draw. Aronyan, bishop b4, Ragozin, and now queen e7 is yes, knight d7, knight d7, knight d8, a5 immediately, and after bishop e7, a6. So if come back to this, so black cannot win here. This is rapport. I want Dubo. Where is Dubo? So I explain it. Yes, so for example, knight e6, bishop h7, so bishop b4, this, knight d8, a5. Also bishop d5 also. Bishop d5, king g6, no. So a5. a5, it's okay. Only what can play black is to take, but bishop f8, draw anyway. Knight e6 and knight f4 and draw. Okay, so Aronian played very well. Okay, we'll see. So queen e7 is novelty, for me at least. So there are many moves according to theory. So rook e8 was played, b6 was played, knight e7 was played, queen e7. Okay, so new move. Bishop d2. Okay, a3, very natural reaction to force bishop takes c3, queen takes c3, and play this position. I don't know what Aronian playing to do here. Probably just a5 or d8. I don't know. Okay, so this is a totally natural reaction. Surely Aronian prepared something, but I don't know what exactly he prepared. Maybe even e5. There is concrete idea after d takes e5, knight e4, or knight takes e5, knight takes e5, takes knight e4, queen d4, something like this, and bishop f5, and then rook d8, so probably this. But okay, I don't know if it works, if it's strong or bad, so, but this is, it's possible at least, it's logical to consider such ideas. What's the difference that white lost tempi queen a4? Okay, there are similar variation in queen c2, d5 in Nimzo India. I mean d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, queen c4, d5, a3, this, queen takes c3, I mean knight e4, queen c2, and now e5. Or knight c6, firstly, knight f3, e5, also possible. So e3. So this variations. Queen takes d5, bishop c4. How was this variation with queen on a1? Okay, here it's just bad for black. So, but it was instead of e takes d4, bishop f5. It's something like this: bishop c4, queen a5, b4, knight takes b4. This. No, it's I mean game Kasparov Adams. How it was? Okay, so knight c6 immediately. I mean this variation: e3, e5. Now knight f3. It's another line, but this is variation theoretical. So this, king e2, check. This, bishop b2, so something like this. Okay, but the difference that white knight on g1. So in the game, it's only start. Bishop b2, it's only start of theory, and many games was played here. Okay, let's see. By the way, we will see what they doing. So Aronian, where is Aronian? So, bishop d2, so a3 it's possible, but necessary to consider take on c3 and e5. How strong it is, I don't know. For example, here it's possible d takes e5, and after knight e4, queen c2. I don't know what is this. And then c takes d5 somehow. Okay, probably bishop f5, c takes d5, knight takes e5 is possible. But what is this? It's difficult to say anything concrete without deep analysis. So bishop d2, it's another natural move, but d takes c4. Concrete. Now bishop takes c4, the most natural, although possible to consider maybe a3. as well, but after a3, black can think about bishop takes c4 and b5. a4 also, it's not obvious, but a4, knight b4, and then c6 is coming. So, okay, bishop takes c4, natural move, e5, d5, queen c5, I think it was prepared, and now b3 was possible. This idea, if bishop takes c3, bishop takes c3, knight takes d5, knight g5. And suddenly white is winning. Because if g6, knight e4 is coming, okay, maybe not winning, but at least very dangerous for black. So g6, knight e4, now knight b4, black should play it, but queen b1 and then a3, so very dangerous for black. So probably after b3, Aronian planned something else, maybe knight a5, for example. But if knight a5, knight takes e5 is possible with idea knight d3. So b3 looks like a principal reaction to defend bishop and wait after some move of knight, knight takes e5. So. Okay, knight a5 maybe it's possible. If knight takes e5, knight takes c4 immediately. And if knight takes c4, black can take pawn back, bishop c3 and knight d5. If b takes c4, rook e8 is coming, so with some compensation. With f4, knight g4, something like this. Okay, what else? Kamer played knight a4. Of course, it is possible to consider as well. Queen e6, for example, knight d3. Another complicated position. Black can play bishop d6 or bishop e7. Knight a5, knight e5, knight takes c4. Knight takes c4, b5 you want. Okay, b5 it's possible, but knight e5 and now knight d3 it's threat. Okay, but here more natural just take and then take pawn back, and black has no problem at all, it looks like. But white has nothing to worry about too, I think. So bishop takes c3, for example, knight takes d5, bishop d4, it looks like equal position. Queen b4 check, maybe even knight d2, and then castle. I hope knight f4 is not so strong, but who knows. a3 simply is possible. So, okay, b3 was interesting alternative. If bishop b3 and knight a5, I think was idea. Although even this, it's possible to consider. If knight a5, knight takes e5, idea knight d3, if this, so okay, black can take on c3 and take on d5, but this variation looks like equal somehow. But also necessary to check, because if bishop c3, knight d5, bishop d4, queen a5 check, but bishop d2 is possible, then rook c1 is coming. Knight b6 also. Okay, so it's a white choice here. So b3 possible, bishop b3 possible, bishop d3 even possible. Idea if bishop takes c3, okay, knight takes d5, bishop h7. It's good for white. So bishop takes c3 more or less forced, and now d takes c6, bishop takes d2, knight takes d2. This. Now if take on c6, white has compensation because of beta pawn structure. So b6 is possible. And, okay, but probably after b6, pawn on c6 can be weakness somewhere. Okay, but Kamer played knight e4, probably not the best move, by the way. Knight e7. Now black is prepared for bishop f5 somewhere. And not so easy for white to play. For example, castle bishop f5 is extremely unpleasant. And probably, okay, so this is, it's not, probably he overlooked knight e7, but okay, it's not so difficult move. So, okay, knight e7. Another problem for white that rook c1, black has b5. I hope. For example, if bishop d3, queen takes c1 check, if king e2, f5 is possible. And it looks like black is winning here. Queen takes b4, queen takes h1, and e4 comings. But okay, let's try to check. So queen takes e7, because if e4, bishop c3, bishop c3, queen takes g2. Queen takes, oh, sorry, maybe not so easy, knight g5. Okay, I understand that this everything, this line looks like some craziness, but e takes d3, what is this? But, for example, king d2, queen takes f2 check, king takes d3. I want to understand. Okay, black has perpetual check, but if black has something more than perpetual check here, probably not. Because rook f6, queen e8, white at least always only with king. But maybe there is idea check and then check somewhere from here and then, for example, here queen h1 check, and then queen takes h2 and queen h6, or if king c1, the same idea, to take on h2 with check and queen h6. Okay, but anyway, we can see that here. But okay, if I want to play solid, looks like bishop b3, normal move. Just to protect my pieces. So bishop is hanging, so bishop takes d2 is forced, and I have choice. Even I can consider to take with king. Okay, I understand that this is risky, but maybe possible even this. But okay, much more solid to take with knight, of course, and it looks like white has quite safe position because e5 pawn is attacked, so white has time to castle, so it's normal position for white. But Kamer played knight takes e5. It's much more risky, and this looks like crazy decision. Knight takes e5, because to play with such a kings and okay, bishop f. So bishop b3 was much more solid, and it looks like. No, I don't think that white has advantage, but at least white has surely nothing to worry about after bishop b3. So knight takes e5. takes bishop. Okay, maybe queen d4 was more solid idea here, but okay, after queen d4, black can take on d4, take on d2, rook d8, and then take on d5. Okay, but queen f4 looks like crazy. So queen c5. And now, it's interesting that Kamer considered his position like better for him, because we have seen king d2, so after king d2 he could repeat position, because it was position queen b4 check and queen c5. So Kamer could try. Uh, to me, play Fischer chess. Okay, I also can play, for example, preference or Belot or domino or backgammon. So my relation to Fischer chess something like to backgammon. It's my opinion. So I know that many players like to play Fischer chess, but okay, I never considered Fischer chess like something serious. So very interesting moments that Kamer was very optimistic about his position, because he refused, firstly, he refused bishop b3, solid move. Uh, then here he didn't try to play king d2 and to check if his opponent agreed to draw or not. So he played g4 and g5. Wow. So, okay, very likely that Kamer just missed this move, and this move is far from obvious. So, but let's try to estimate positions. So, nothing terrible for white probably yet. So, queen d4 is possible. After this, bishop e4, rook e1, bishop d5. Okay, white has isolated pawn, but nothing special. I don't think that black has good chances to win in this position. King d2, for example, or king c2. So, okay, so I think this endgame, okay, maybe black is only marginally better, but not more. So after king d2 or king c2. No. I never met Fischer. What about his radio interviews? Okay, I didn't listen these interviews accurately. So I don't know. I have no special opinion, but I prefer to see games of Fischer, especially from 1960, 19, from end of 1950s. So he started to play very good. And about him like person, I didn't know him. I never met him, so I'm hardly can be correct person to make conclusion about it. So queen d4 was possible, but okay, after queen d4, white admits that they are pretending only for draw. Of course, white not pretend for more, but it's not necessary to lost in this position for white after king c2, for example. But okay, so after g5, Gamer play before, so it's like boxing without rules. So okay, if queen takes g5, as I understand, bishop g6 is idea, and black wants to play f6 in some moment, or b5 probably. So, oh, if queen f6, knight takes d5, of course. And what to play with white, not so obvious. So Kamer played after bishop takes d5, knight e7. You mean here knight d7? Knight d7 I have seen, but I was not so sure about this position. Bishop takes c4, and now rook fd8 with idea bishop e6. So I wasn't sure what white will do this. Because of this, I prefer to play king c2. And now, okay, so what black should? f6, for example. It's possible. But, okay, for example, I can take and play knight c4, and then knight e3. Okay, maybe black is slightly better, but nothing special. Teschner Gligorich, I don't remember Teschner Gligorich. Okay, but before, queen takes before, queen d4, knight g6, bravo. So I like such a play. So total house on the board, bishop b3, check, c5. What is this? If d takes c6, what is prepared? Teschner Gligorich, okay, well, I will check. Queen gambit and won against Spassky. No, Spassky played Queen's Gambit against Fischer and won. It was line with g5. g5, Kizeritsky Gambit. h4, g4, knight e5. A win Gambit. What is win Gambit? Videos too. Okay, so c5, okay, what is d takes c6, rook d8 somewhere, but which rook? So it's okay. It's hard to understand something. Okay, also knight takes e5. Okay, knight takes e5, queen takes e5, rook d8, king e2, and then king f3. Queen a5 check, king e2. So rook d8, but which rook? If rook a d8, bishop takes f7, necessary to consider. If rook f d8, e4 c5 before. Rook f d8, knight d7. What is this? Total craziness. I don't know. Okay, maybe this, queen, queen e7. To prepare rook takes d7, but still totally unclear what is this. For example, king c2, rook takes d7, and then queen e4 coming. Probably black is better, but okay, so it's possible to analyze long time such a wild position. So in the game queen c3, gf, and now, okay, now more or less clear that queen a5, sorry, where was queen a5 proposition? Here queen a5. Knight e5, queen takes e5, rook a d8. King e2. is this? Bishop takes g4, f3, queen a6 check, king f2, so rook d2, king g3. Queen e7, when queen e7? I propose that queen e7. Bishop takes f7 and f takes g6. Yes, but what is this? For example, this, and then rook takes d7 is coming. Okay, king c3, rook takes d7, queen c4, rook d5 also. Looks promising for white. No, for black, sorry, because a king. Okay, so rook fd8. Okay, so here, here black is much better because knight on e5 is much stronger than bishop on b3. But okay, b5, king h8. So black just want to play c4 or f6 somewhere. Or b4. So after f4, b4 is possible. Okay, so I need to check if... so okay, so for somebody dark screen, okay, but if for other it's good, no problem. So bishop d1. Okay, so now black is totally okay. So excellent game from Aronian. Surely till the moment the best game from this tournament. And also I need to admit that Kamer played extremely aggressively in this line. So he had solid option which I showed, but he took very big risk and was outplayed. Is it interesting format? Okay, maybe. But yes, I agree that many decisive games and many interesting games. That's right. Okay, what else we have? Wojtaszek Fedoseev. Something very solid. Theory, bishop e5, rook c8. There is some theory, bishop takes e5 and queen d6, as I remember. Rook c8, maybe this is theory as well. Championship, something for me. Okay, I can try to play for fun. Okay, for example, I played in in final stage of World Championship Frisian drafts. So surely Frisian drafts I considered much more serious than Fischer chess. But okay, it's just my opinion. I don't force to anybody. Also, I discovered my own chess kissing the queen. So okay, why my improvisation? It's less serious than Fischer chess. Okay, so sometimes it's possible. Friesland, yes, capital, main city of Friesland is Leeuwarden. Leeuwarden, but I prefer to play in Franeker, in a very small city, but very, very nice. So, if somebody have never been in Franeker, I strongly recommend to visit this small city. So, this. Okay, so I have seen this position already. So isolated pawn, but active pieces somewhere. Which football team? Real Madrid I support. but I didn't follow football competition during last time. So queen e5. So okay, so isolated pawn, but active pieces, and somewhere black wants to play d4 and simplify position. Okay, so rook c4, bishop f3, knight c5, rook h4, g3, rook h6. So I don't know how. Темно, как в танке. Что я могу сделать? Вам темно, другим нормально. Okay, so for many spectators, is it okay? Is it, я понимаю, да, но что я могу сделать? Другие пишут, что все хорошо. Я не знаю, как удовлетворить всех. Okay, so there is confirmation that this is okay. So rook h6 has stopped. Okay, so should I take 10-minute break? Probably. Okay, I will do it. I will take 10-minute break and come back soon. So I'm here again. Слышно меня? Видно меня? Can somebody hear me? Okay, I want to continue my annotations. Okay, good. So rook h6, what I see. So b2 pawn is hanging, d4 is prepared. So, somewhere. So black has enough contraplay for draw. b4 was possible, looks like logical, but I don't know why Wojtaszek didn't play it before. Probably knight e4, maybe knight e6, don't know. But after knight e6, white has idea, for example, to play queen d3, if d4 to play e4, and to prepare f4. Okay, maybe knight e4 is possible. Yes, and then rook c6. Yes, black is serious, and knight c3 also. Okay, somebody has... Okay, somebody can see me or not? Same screen is black now. Aha, oh, you can see me. Okay, so somebody can see me. Okay. Okay, what can I do? So somebody cannot see me. Maybe rook c1, but okay, after rook c1, knight c3 is possible, and then take on e2, and then d4, so looks like enough contraplay for draw. This. And then rook h d6 in some moments, something like this. Okay, so queen d4, Wojtaszek decide to simplify position. Probably draw is acceptable result for him in this game, I mean, according to tournament situation. So rook d2, of course black can take on e2 and still play this drawish. In move 33, rook c1. Rook c1. Yes, rook c1 is possible, but anyway, maybe knight, maybe knight e6. Then, okay, it's possible. Try something. For example, rook c2, d2, d4, rook d2, black screen. What can I do? Should I restart computer or what can I do? Refresh. Refresh. So everybody want me refresh the computer, right? Is it correct? No. Okay, so all good. So what can I do? Okay, so maybe it's possible try to play rook c2, if d4, rook d2, something like this. Maybe it's possible, but Wojtaszek probably played for the draw. And this is certainly drawish. Of course, knight takes e2 is draw as well. Okay, so let's... how many games so left? So Shirov... so many games we have. Hare Krishna against Dominguez. So main theoretical line is knight f3 here, and after d5, e takes d6, queen takes d6, castle, bishop e6, knight a3. So this is main theoretical line. Bishop takes b3, a takes b3. So idea knight b5. And also another line takes on e6, quite old line, rook d8, and according to theory, black has good contraplay. If queen h4, h5 is the best, according to my knowledge, with idea queen g4. Okay, so c takes d4, d5 played Dominguez. So d6 is possible as well, but after d6, white has idea to play knight f3, d takes e5, d5, knight a5, knight c3. Many games was played in this line. Queen a5, where queen a5? You mean here queen a5? Okay, it's possible, but black has some ideas, but it looks like white has many promising lines. Even f4 and knight f3 can be considered. If compare with Zvyagintsev system and then c3 f4, so after queen a5 it looks like much more logical. d5, so now after e takes d6, queen takes d6, black is totally okay. The d5, knight a5, or maybe knight b4 as well is possible. After knight c3, bishop f5, and knight d3 check is coming. Okay. Professional chess, I don't remember if I started this. I always enjoyed chess, and I still enjoy chess now. But if you mean just playing tournaments, so I started to play in 10 years old. I started to study chess in 6 years old. Okay, so bishop c2 looks a little bit strange, white losing tempi, but idea to prevent bishop f5. So if allow bishop f5, black has quite a good position. Good version of French or Caro-Kann with e5, bishop f5. So bishop c2, knight b4, very natural reaction to exchange the bishop. Bishop d7, queen c8, queen c4. So white gave his bishop, and looks like black totally solved his opening problem. Queen c6. Okay, black is not castled, but it's difficult to utilize this factor because king in center quite well defended in this position. White played a4, and I don't know if it's a good idea to create weakness. Probably white wants to prepare b3, a4, a6, but actually he didn't play b3. After b3, even knight a3, it's possible to consider with idea knight c2 somewhere. This. So, rook fd1, bishop d8. Now pawn h4 is defended, and black are prepared for castle. They have strong pressure in queen's flank. If b3, knight a5, and obviously white cannot play b4 because knight b3. Of course, after b4, even knight c4 positionally good, but knight b3 is strong. So it's not easy to defend flank. Queen b2 is possible to try because if queen b6, maybe knight b5 is interesting. But after queen b2, castle firstly. Now queen b6 is threat. Not so easy to defend against. Yes, yes, I agree that very good version of French. Queen b6, queen takes b2, bishop c2. So it remember somehow my game against Shiro, which I won with black in line e4, e6, d4, d5, e5, c5, c3, knight c6, knight f3, queen b6. He played bishop e2, takes, knight h6, knight c3, knight f5, knight a4, queen a5, this, 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 and later I won with black against Shiro. So more or less same type of position. Knight b4, king d7. Okay, it's obviously that this is endgame. It's very bad for white. Because a4 and d4 pawn. Okay, knight c6. All black are defended now. Two white pawns is attacked and h4 pawn is strong. So white is losing. Knight f4, mating threat, d4. So just pushing the pawn. If rook takes g7, probably just d3 it's possible. King c6, then d2, and white should lost. Okay, so good game for Dominguez. He played in counter-attack style and won convincingly. So what else? Shirov saw quite quick draw. Berlin defense, classical line. I don't know what actually the theory, but this is already drawish. Rook g4, if rook takes h4, black can take and play bishop b3, for example, with easy draw. Okay, nothing special, and also Bakro Yesipenko, a4, b4. So we have seen d3, d6, knight d2 game. Hare Krishna Shiro, and Shiro played rook e8, something like this. Okay, I don't know what to do with video, so I hope at least somebody can follow me, or I should stop it. Okay. But please, if somebody can hear me and see me as well, please confirm it. So it was another game. It was Hare Krishna Shiro. So d4, d6, d takes e. Okay. So good. So somebody can see me. So good. Knight takes e5. Another possible line. D takes e5. Nobody knows what is better. Both move are playable. So knight takes e5. Knight takes e5, bishop f4 is also possible, and Marshall Gambit, I don't know if it's so drawish. Okay, it depends of knowledge of opponents. Okay, now after knight takes e5, white tried bishop f4 here, also possible to take, and now queen takes d8. According to my knowledge, it's not the main line, so Evans Gambit, yes, playable. I was surprised that after b4, Grishuk played bishop e7 immediately in Evans Gambit. Not bishop takes b4, not bishop b6, but bishop e7. I suppose that it was novelty, but then I checked my mega database and have seen that Schiffers played against Chigorin bishop e7 too more than 100 years ago. So now queen f3 it's possible, queen e2 is possible. So my game against Aronian, I won with white with queen f3. Queen e2 was, as I remember, interesting game. Svidler against Dink. Svidler white, Dink black, Dink won. Svidler or maybe Hari Krishna played with white. Okay, I'm not sure. But Dink surely played with black after queen e2. So queen takes d8. I know that this is not the main line. Okay, so bishop c5. Yesipenko. Okay, what is this? If knight f3, knight g4. I think this is at the end. Rook e2 not possible because rook d1. If rook f1, knight takes f2 is possible. I cannot take. So this is idea of bishop c5. The most logical way for white is just to play h3 here to prevent knight g4. But now maybe bishop b7, not allow knight f3 or knight c4. If king f1, probably a5. With idea to prepare bishop f6. For example, if f3, it's bad, of course, because after bishop a6, if knight c4, rook d4 is coming. If bishop c4, rook takes d2 is coming. Bishop takes a6, rook f2, black is weak. Oh, knight f3. What about knight g4 now? It's question. So why not play knight g4 now? Now I suppose that bishop g5. Okay, what can I do? So bishop g5 looks logical. Idea bishop h4, if bishop takes, king f1, and now white has many threats as well. Probably this is dangerous for black. It's not so obvious, however. For example, rook e8, rook e2, bishop somewhere, h3, for example, h3. Knight f6, takes, knight h4. Knight has compensation for the pawn. Okay, if but at least somebody can see me or nobody. Because I don't know what. Okay. If at least somebody sees. So knight g4 is interesting, by the way. So not so obvious how to refute it. Okay, maybe there is some theory, by the way. I don't know. But Andrei decided not play. Rook e8. Just played. So it's question for me what was prepared after knight g4. Okay, maybe just bishop e3, of course. It's possible to consider. After knight takes e3, f takes e3, and pawn e5 is hanging, and also white has threat knight g5. Probably this was idea of Etienne Bacro in this position. And double pawns are not so weak. For example, if this rook d1 is possible. If bishop b7, even bishop d5 is possible. Something like this. Okay, rook e8, by the way, played Andrei. Bishop e3 looks natural, although not necessary. It's possible to play bishop g5 and then take on f6, bishop b7. It's more or less equal position. For white, not so easy to transfer his knight on f5. Even if they will, black will have idea bishop c8, take on f5. If I like ice cream, yes, I like ice cream with strawberry, especially in summertime. So, also possible with good red wine together, or with coffee. So bishop e3 takes bishop b7, more or less equal endgame. We see in the board. Black has weakness on e5, white has weakness on e4. So rook d1. Okay, at the moment to take on e4 is not so tempting, because after knight takes e4, rook d7 is coming. If bishop takes e4, bishop takes f7, and knight g5. So king f8, now bishop takes e4 is threat, because after bishop takes f7, black will have bishop takes f3. So white needs to do something. Knight d2 played. Bacro, rook d8, f3. Now it's a5. Bishop c4. So I don't know why Etienne doesn't want to react against pin. So in my opinion, more natural looks rook e1 to prepare knight c4. And for example, bishop a6, knight c4, takes, and equal position. Of course, bishop c4 not possible because rook takes d2. But okay, so this is just illustration that white is not worse. Yes, before yes, but now e4 pawn is defended very well with pawn on f3, so only white problem is pin on d line, but it's possible to solve it with rook e1 and then knight c4. But probably I think that Bacro didn't want to draw here, so he's playing for win. But he's taking some risk, because there is still pin in d line. Bishop c6, so b3, another pawn in light square, so it can be a danger for some bishop endgames in future for white. Bishop e2, knight c5, so now it's more pleasant to play with black even, probably. King f2, f6. c3. Of course, looks like Etienne playing for a win, although can you show your Fischer game? Okay, not today. Okay, if some players are interested for my spectators in a special video, I can prepare material. For example, in one video I can show, for example, 3 games of Fischer. And another video I can show 3 or 5 games of Firuja, for example, or somebody else. Depends of wishes of my spectators. Okay, so now it looks strange that Bakro is slightly walls, but he is playing for the win. So dangerous strategy. So c3, and after c3, okay, he wants to prepare rook c1 attack, but b3 pawn is weak. So bishop e8 immediately. And now, for example, if take rook c1, knight takes e4 looks unpleasant, and white is losing the pawn, and so king e1, he prepared this, but and now rook c1 looks like very logical move. I don't know why Etienne didn't play this, so it looks like rook c1 move, which okay, so maybe rook takes d2. This is a problem. If king takes d2, knight takes b3, and maybe white is not losing, but not so pleasant at least to play this. There is chances for draw, but only black can play for win, of course. If rook takes c5, rook b2. So I think this was what afraid Etienne, because I don't see any other explanation not play rook c1. And yes, rook takes c7, bishop takes b3, and Dostoevsky novellas. Okay, I read Dostoevsky. He has novel player Igrok, so I liked this. I remember, and also another name униженные и оскорбленные. Russian name. I don't know what is English name. Similar name has novel of Hugo, Miserables. Miserable. Okay, so after rook c1, white has tactical problem. Rook takes d2 and rook b2, and okay, maybe white has chances for draw, but not so pleasant. So he played bishop c4 and rook d4. And what is this? Rook c1, bishop takes, rook d8. So, is it really bad for white? I don't know. Okay, so b3 pawn is very weak, and d4 pawn is weak. So black can improve slowly his position. White has no plan, because a5 it means create another weakness. But probably it's possible to just play knight a5 here. Looks logical, at least. My idea to play knight c6, if rook d6, more or less force it. Just play knight c4. And if rook d4, come back, knight a5. And I won't draw. So I don't know if black can do something better than draw. Because he played king e2, but yes, he played g3, but now already this idea doesn't work, because after knight a5, rook d6, knight c4, rook d4, knight a5, black can play king d7. So probably instead g3 was better to hurry with knight a5 and try to force draw somehow. I don't know if black has a good way to avoid this draw. At least it looks like logical attempt for white. So g3, king e7. Now white has no this opportunity, and black improved position. And for white, it's difficult to play. Knight d2, g5, so total control on the board. King d1, g4, now e4 pawn is very weak. f4 takes, h4, so a5, okay, a5 is desperation, but it's hard to suggest something. King d1 probably was the best choice if it doesn't lose immediately. It's possible that it just losing. No. So this is losing for white. Okay, so in this game looks like in equal endgame, Bakro outplayed himself simply. So he, instead of make draw, he start to play in strange style, and okay, Andrei utilized his chance very well and won the game. That's true. King c6 and white resigned. What is this? If a7, rook d8. King f3, knight f3, king b7. So, yes, white is pawn down, g2 pawn very strong, so logical result of game. Is that all for today? I hope. I want just to check. Tashik Fedoseev. Looks like annotated all of games. Sometimes more deeply, sometimes less. So, but okay. I did what I did. Okay, so this is the end. So it's 11:19 p.m. in Ukraine. I need to sleep, I need to relax, so see you next time tomorrow. Tomorrow will be around 6, right? Tomorrow will be around 6, and I will look it together with you. Good night. Thanks for attention.